The mysterious killer ailment. It began as an ordinary day. Sarah, a 29-year-old mother of two, was bustling around the kitchen, prepping breakfast while answering emails. She reached for her coffee mug, but it slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. At first, she thought she was just tired. But when she tried to pick it up, her right hand didn't respond. Her fingers curled in, lifeless. "Maybe I just slept wrong," she told herself. But within minutes, her speech slurred, and she collapsed in front of her kids. The ambulance arrived just in time. Sarah survived, but she would spend the next 6 months relearning how to talk and walk. Then there's Daniel, a 55-year-old school principal known for his charisma and energy. That morning in a staff meeting, he squinted at the whiteboard. "Why do the numbers look fuzzy?" he asked. His colleagues thought he just needed new glasses, but as he turned around, he stumbled, then clutched his head in agony, describing it as the worst pain he'd ever felt in his life. Seconds later, he collapsed. The staff rushed him to the hospital. The diagnosis shocked everyone. Daniel, like Sarah, had just been attacked, but not by something visible. In both stories, the enemy crept in quietly, with no visible warning, then struck fast and brutally. It wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't epilepsy. And no, it wasn't exhaustion. It was a stroke. What is a stroke, and why does it happen? A stroke is not just a health scare. It's an ambush. It often strikes when least expected, with symptoms that can be easy to dismiss in the moment. But behind the scenes, the brain is crying out for help. A stroke happens when blood flow to a part of the brain is suddenly interrupted, either because a clot blocks a vessel, ischemic stroke, or a blood vessel ruptures and leaks blood into brain tissue, hemorrhagic stroke. In both cases, oxygen and nutrients are cut off, and brain cells begin to die within minutes. The scariest part? It doesn't just steal your physical strength, it threatens everything that makes you you, your ability to speak, think, walk, see, or even survive. A third type, known as a transient ischemic attack, TIA, or mini stroke, doesn't cause lasting damage, but serves as a loud warning bell. Many people don't recognize it as a sign of an impending disaster, and that's where the danger lies. The aftermath of a stroke can range from mild impairment to complete disability or death. But it rarely begins with a dramatic collapse. Sometimes it whispers instead of shouts. Never wait for the symptoms to get worse. There's a reason doctors emphasize golden hour intervention for stroke. Every second lost equals more brain function lost. Stroke doesn't negotiate, it escalates. If you ever feel something off in your body, especially involving speech, vision, balance, or sensation, do not second-guess yourself. Do not wait until the symptoms worsen or become more obvious. Stroke doesn't wait for clarity. Too many lives have been lost because someone said, "Let me rest first," or "It's probably just stress." One major study estimates that nearly 2 million neurons die every minute during an untreated stroke. That's why acting fast isn't just wise, it's life-saving. Main early symptoms of stroke. The symptoms of stroke can be subtle, even misleading. But knowing how to identify them early can change everything. First, sudden trouble with vision. Vision problems are among the earliest and most ignored warning signs. This could mean double vision, sudden blindness in one eye, or seeing spots. It might only last for seconds, but it's a clear signal something is wrong in the brain's visual processing centers. Daniel, a 42-year-old marketing executive, thought his blurred vision was just eye strain. But within minutes, he collapsed in his office. He had suffered a stroke that nearly claimed his life, and would have had his colleague not acted quickly. 2. A headache, like you've never felt before. While headaches are common, a stroke-related headache is anything but ordinary. It's sudden, intense, and unlike any you've experienced before. Hemorrhagic strokes, in particular, often present with what many describe as the worst headache of their life. This pain is usually accompanied by nausea or vomiting, and it doesn't improve with rest or medication. In a 2021 article published in Stroke, researchers noted that up to 25% of hemorrhagic stroke patients initially misattributed their symptoms to migraines until it was too late. 3. Numbness or tingling, especially on one side. If your arm, leg, or face suddenly feels numb or weak, especially on one side, it could be your brain's way of saying it's under siege. Most people associate numbness with poor posture or fatigue. But if it comes on suddenly, without an obvious cause, it's likely neurological. Sarah, a healthy 35-year-old runner, felt her right leg give way during a morning jog. Within minutes, she couldn't move her arm either. Her stroke was caused by a previously undetected clotting disorder, one that could have killed her if she had delayed getting help. 4th, fainting or sudden dizziness. Loss of balance, unsteadiness, or feeling faint can also be early signs of a stroke, particularly when paired with nausea, vomiting, or confusion. Many people dismiss this as dehydration or fatigue, but when it comes on suddenly, don't ignore it. How to recognize this beast? Fast stroke. Recognition is a race against time. The fast method can help anyone, young or old, identify stroke symptoms in seconds. F. Face. Drooping. Ask the person to smile. Is one side of the face drooping or uneven? A. Arm. Weakness. Ask them to lift both arms. Does one arm drift down or feel numb? S. Speech. Difficulty. Can they speak clearly? Is their speech slurred or confused? T. Time to call emergency services. If you notice any of these signs, call emergency services immediately. Don't try to wait and see. Don't Google remedies. Every minute matters. Getting to a stroke-ready hospital within the first few hours can be the difference between walking again or never walking at all. Types of stroke explained: ischemic and hemorrhagic. Ischemic strokes, which account for nearly 87% of all strokes, happen when a blood clot blocks or narrows an artery leading to the brain. This can be due to plaque buildup or a clot formed elsewhere in the body that travels to the brain. Hemorrhagic strokes are more deadly, though less common. They occur when a blood vessel in the brain bursts, leading to internal bleeding. High blood pressure, aneurysms, or trauma are common causes. These strokes often result in more severe disability or death. But rapid medical intervention can save lives. What is TIA, mini stroke? A transient ischemic attack, TIA, is a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. Unlike major strokes, TIA symptoms last only a few minutes to hours, and they often resolve on their own. But don't be fooled, a TIA is your body's red alert. According to the American Stroke Association, about 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will go on to have a full-blown stroke, often within a year. Ignoring a TIA is like ignoring smoke in a burning house. It may be your only chance to act before disaster strikes. Why do symptoms vary so much? The human brain is not just a single lump of tissue. It's a vast metropolis of functionally distinct regions, each responsible for a vital part of your existence. One area governs speech, another controls vision, and others command your ability to move, remember, or feel. This is why stroke symptoms are so unpredictable. When a clot or bleed strikes a particular part of the brain, it disrupts only the function that area controls. A stroke in the left hemisphere may affect speech and language, while one in the right could impact perception, attention, or even your sense of space. That's why one person might experience garbled speech, while another suffers paralysis on the left side, and another simply feels dizzy or confused. This variability is what makes strokes so dangerous, and why they are often misdiagnosed, especially in the early stages. Many patients report being told by doctors, "It's probably vertigo," or "just anxiety." One 2019 study published in Neurology found that younger patients and women were significantly more likely to be misdiagnosed in the ER when presenting with atypical stroke symptoms. This is partly because the symptoms don't always follow a textbook pattern, especially if the stroke affects areas not typically associated with classic signs like facial drooping or speech slurring. Take, for instance, the story of Marcus, a 45-year-old man who suddenly lost the ability to recognize objects around him. He thought he was hallucinating. The emergency physician initially diagnosed it as a migraine with aura. It was only after a second opinion and a CT scan that the truth emerged. Marcus had suffered a stroke in the occipital lobe, the part of the brain that processes vision. Had he not insisted on further tests, the damage could have been far worse. Every second counts in a stroke. But when symptoms are vague or confusing, valuable time is often wasted. Why strokes are rising in younger people? Once thought to be a condition that mainly affected the elderly, strokes are now striking a much younger crowd, and the numbers are rising alarmingly. The image of an old man slumped over with a cane no longer represents the full reality. Today, even teenagers and young adults are facing this silent killer. What changed? Our modern lifestyle has become a breeding ground for stroke risk. Sedentary desk jobs mean we move less than ever. Junk food and processed meals have replaced balanced diets, leading to high blood pressure and cholesterol even in people in their 20s. Chronic stress from work, finances, or social pressures raises cortisol levels, which can damage blood vessels over time. Add smoking, alcohol, lack of sleep, and hours glued to screens, and you've got the perfect storm. A 2023 report by the CDC confirmed a 15% increase in stroke cases among individuals under the age of 50. Alarmingly, many of these patients had no prior warning. The strokes often hit during rest, after long workdays, or in the middle of emotionally intense periods. The scariest part? Most of them didn't even know they were at risk. Lisa's story is a chilling example. At just 34, she was healthy by most people's standards. She exercised occasionally, worked from home, and took birth control pills. But she also smoked socially and stayed up late finishing work on her laptop. One night, she went to bed feeling fine. The next morning, she woke up with a heavy tongue, slurred speech, and a numb left arm. Thinking she had slept awkwardly, she tried to shake it off, but something wasn't right. Her husband rushed her to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, a warning stroke. She survived, but the emotional scars remain. "I never thought this could happen to me," she said. "I thought I was too young." Women, especially those on hormonal birth control and who smoke, are at particularly high risk. The combination of estrogen and nicotine thickens the blood and increases the risk of clot formation. In fact, a 2022 study in the Journal of Stroke and Cerebrovascular Diseases found that women under 40 on birth control who smoked had double the risk of stroke compared to non-smokers not on hormonal contraception. Then there's the under-discussed impact of screen addiction. Constant screen time, especially before bed, reduces sleep quality, increases stress, and contributes to a sedentary lifestyle, all major contributors to stroke risk. When the body lacks rest, proper circulation suffers. When stress becomes chronic, blood pressure spikes. These things don't just take a toll, they lay the groundwork for sudden brain events that can change your life forever. And let's not forget about silent strokes, mini strokes that go unnoticed but still damage brain tissue. Some young people don't even realize they've had one until a future stroke hits harder. These smaller events can affect memory, concentration, and emotional regulation, symptoms often blamed on burnout or anxiety. In truth, stroke is no longer just a medical condition, it's a societal warning signal. It's telling us to take better care of our hearts, our minds, and our lifestyles before the damage becomes permanent. How to prevent a stroke. Here are some powerful steps to protect yourself and your loved ones. Control your blood pressure, the #1 stroke risk. Eat smart. Focus on leafy greens, fish, berries, whole grains. Get moving. 30 minutes of walking daily lowers risk significantly. Quit smoking. It damages your blood vessels over time. Limit alcohol. Heavy drinking increases risk. Reduce stress. Meditate, journal, pray, breathe. Know your numbers: blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar. And please listen to your body. Don't brush off the signs. Don't be a victim of silent strokes. Don't shout, they whisper. They steal time, memory, and lives without mercy. But the earlier you catch them, the better your chance at full recovery. You know the signs now. So what will you do with that knowledge? If you or someone near you shows even one symptom, don't wait. Call for help, fast. It could be the difference between walking and never walking again. Share this video. You might save someone's mother, someone's son, someone like Sarah, someone like Daniel. Drop a comment if this touched you and let us know. Did you or someone you know survive a stroke? Let's raise awareness together.